In talks to end the war in Iran. It all comes as President Trump offered new threats to the Middle Eastern country if a deal isn't reached soon. KCA United Washington correspondent Maddie Beertemple has our update.
President Trump says without a deal soon that reopens the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. will blow up all electric generating plants, oil wells, and Karg Island, a major oil hub for Iran. 1 month into the war, President Trump is issuing new threats against Iran's energy infrastructure and key resources, posting, quote, "This will be in retribution for our many soldiers and others that Iran has butchered and killed over the old regime's 47-year reign of terror."
I think we'll make a deal with them, pretty sure. Whether it's possible, we won't.
The president says Iran, as a sign of respect, is now letting 20 oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz, where a fifth of the world's oil travels.
Over the next couple of days, a lot of boats.
You wouldn't have seen those tankers if not for the president's diplomacy and his team engaging on this matter.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says negotiations are going well, even as Iran's foreign minister called the U.S.'s 15-point plan to end the war unrealistic.
What is said publicly is, of course, much different than what's being communicated to us privately.
Meanwhile, the war is showing no signs of letting up. The U.S. and Israel launched a new wave of strikes Monday, while Iran hit a water and electrical plant in Kuwait. 2,500 Marines are now in the Middle East, and the president has not ruled out boots on the ground.
It's the job of the Pentagon to create maximum optionality for the commander-in-chief. It does not mean the president has made any additional decisions.
The White House says the 4 to 6 week timeline the president initially laid out is still in place, as Monday marks day 30 of the conflict.
Energy lockdown. That's the new COVID. It can't come back around with and give you the flu again. That already worked. Whoever took that jab, they took the jab. Mission accomplished. Now it's the energy lockdowns, which are already going on. If you look at what's going on in the world, Korea has mandated car restrictions in the public sector. The Philippines implemented 4-day work week. Cuba has a 4-day work week for fuel rationing. Egyptian restaurants now have to close by 9 to save energy. And if you look around Australia, they're running out of gas and diesel. So I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's going on. Now they're doing essential travel only. So not only are they pricing you out of being able to move around, because now people are saying, man, if it ain't essential, I'm not driving because gas is too damn high. They're talking about they're running out of fuel. They purposely not paying the TSA agents, so the airport's closed, which means what? Flights are getting canceled. Your movement's getting canceled. You remember they said they only want the rich to be able to travel by flight, and the poor, the goyams, you're going to have to put on an Oculus and go virtually to where you want to travel to. They can tell you all this, all this stuff that they said. It's like they telling you in real time. Y'all not paying attention. And the reason I'm bringing it back up, because you remember Trump said he didn't read Project 2025.
Oh, yeah.
He said he didn't read it, but yet everything that's happening right now is straight out of that playbook. That's why I said this is all planned.
Did you hear that? You know what? This is getting so serious. I feel like I cannot even fully express it to you, but we're still gonna try in this video because we've got your back. See, we've been abroad for 6 years, and I remember C19 like it was yesterday. I know you probably do too. The stand 6 feet apart, putting tape and signs everywhere. Don't sneeze, don't cough, or else somebody's gonna carry you away and call the Department of Health and get you taken away into quarantine. Now, we all thought that it would be a second illness going around, but they are showing you that the Iran war is the catalyst for the next global lockdown, and it's not looking too good. I mean, as they were saying, Korea's already on lockdown low-key. The Philippines, Egypt, Thailand, all these places in Asia are almost going into an early sort of lockdown, even Egypt, which is in Africa. And so your next logical question is, somebody that's in America, is do I want to be inside of the States for another lockdown?
Yeah, because it's coming close to you. It's coming near a city close to you. I was hearing something about New York, and the mayor or the governor was saying everybody cut off their electricity 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. I'm not sure if they're doing it or if they're asking people to do it. They're asking people to drive slower. You know, don't go too fast. Don't waste a lot of fuel. So things like this is really happening in real time, and it's not going to wait for you. It's just going to happen out of nowhere. I know just the other day I was talking to someone, and I was telling them, man, it's so many distractions around, but you know, you still have your everyday life, right? So you definitely have to take care of yourself, your family and things. And then when you look up and see all these distractions, it's so much going on where you can't pinpoint to see what's really happening. And it's going to happen out of nowhere, these lockdowns, this energy crisis. So this is something that's very important that you have to pay attention to, because if you don't, you know, if you can't see the bigger picture of what's happening, that is what's going to happen, is control. As we see from previous examples like C119, right?
C19.
C119, huh? But that's a perfect example. They started slow, a weekend, then 2 weeks, and then turned out to be 2-3 years, the whole entire world. Think about that. So that was a choice that you had to make. We tell people it was literally a choice that you had to make. If you was going to get the vaccine, or if you was going to get tests and stuff, you know, all praises to the Most High. We didn't have to do anything. But yeah, this is where it's heading. This is where it's heading. And you have to have that discernment. You have to have that wisdom. You have to have that love to seek the Most High so He can lead and guide you, because we are in these times now.
And listen, Iran is also experiencing a total blackout due to the U.S. military cutting the power. Now, this is part of the war that can escalate very fast, because Iran actually stated their new Ayatollah Khamenei, which is the previous Khamenei's son, they said that if they do that, they may decide to nuke Israel or America. In fact, Texas is already citing drones that are unbeknownst to the Texan authorities and the federal government that are circulating through the nuclear facilities. And blackout in one region, and then the 50,000 troops coming in as well, because the U.S. didn't just stop at 2,500 or 5,000. Y'all remember 2 weeks ago we said, hey, they're sending the troops. Some people are like, oh, they're not sending that many. Well, guess what? Now they increased it to 50,000 U.S. troops that are going into Iran to potentially take over Karg Island. Now we're going to get to what exactly Karg Island is and what this looks like, but this is all tied together for your energy lockdown. And you need to know this is not just about Iran. This is about the United States of America and Israel. It's about how quickly systems can shift right under your eyeballs. When energy routes tighten, digital infrastructure is interrupted. Your movement becomes restricted. It quite literally means lockdown for you. Because if you're in the West, you are much more exposed than you think. You probably know it, but maybe you have this cognitive dissonance where you're low-key lying to yourself. But you know deep inside that the West during lockdowns is the wrong region to be in. You've lived through it. You've seen it before. Because the question isn't, is this happening? It's already here, friends. The question is, where are you positioned if it accelerates quicker than you ever could have accounted for? So let's talk about what this looks like over the next 30, 60, and 90 days. Because are we day 30 of the war, I believe? I think we're at day 30.
Just
30 days in, we are seeing Asian countries are on a full or partial lockdown. U.S. cities, it always begins with New York, is talking about restricting not only your movement, but telling you need to drive your car 15 to 20 miles per hour, telling you, hey, we don't want you using too much of your gas, telling you where you need to be and what you need to be doing. Meanwhile, on the African continent and the African islands, people are living freely, especially if you're in sub-Saharan Africa, or if you're in an island with low corruption, Paradise Island. Maybe you just go ride your bike down the street to the grocery store. Maybe you just go walk to the beach and enjoy your time. It's a much better paced and type of living than living in America. But hold on. Since we are almost 7 minutes into this video, I just realized I forgot to tell you about the Mature Adult Intensive, because the Mature Adult Intensive is about to expire in the next week because cohort 7 is at about 60% capacity right now. See, the Mature Adult Intensive typically sells out pretty fast once we open the doors, especially with everything that's happening in the world. We have clients in there that are wondering, hey, this is my individual circumstance. How can I use your knowledge and use your practical expertise to come into the Mature Adult Intensive and figure out which African country is right for me if it's an African country? What do I need to do to get a digital nomad visa? What do I need to do to get a retirement visa? What do I need to do to get some type of 5 to 10 year permit somewhere like a Rwanda, a Botswana, or a Mauritius? If those questions have been plaguing your mind, you're in good company. Visit www.journeywithus.com/services to read the enrollment guide and see if it's right for you.
Yeah, that's good, because I just had a call with one of the clients last night, and they were saying that they were so happy that, you know, they have the information and our company to guide them with their banking and finances, right? And like I say, we're not financial advisors, but we do know how to move around. So this is why, you know, we tell them, you know, they was like, man, I'm just so glad that we got the information about traveling and understanding certain things. And now we can, you know, sign up for your Sunday market blueprints and your one-on-ones, because we really need this. We are of retirement age, almost 70 years old, and we need your mindset to know which banks to use, like SoFi, like Wise. How can I move my money around a little bit easier? You know, I have this portfolio, but I don't know what I don't know how to diversify it. So what are your suggestions? So that's something that they were saying last night. It was like, man, I'm just so glad that we did this. And I was just like, yeah, you got our attention. You know, you're here, you did what you needed to do with the Mature Adult Intensive, and now that you understand, hey, when you move, you're gonna have to figure out how to move your money around. So that is something very, very important that people need to know. You cannot survive without
resources.
Yeah, your resources. So that's
especially
important.
coming to a country where you're going to have residency for 5 to 10 years and you're not doing the 30, 60, 90-day thing. That's a totally different mindset than a traveler that's like, hey, I'm spending 30 days here, 60 days here, 90 days here. That's all cool. But we speak to the mature adults, okay? Because we also have 6 children. And so our mindset is totally different. But I love that you said that. That was such a good testimonial story. That was so good. That's really heartfelt. And it really proves the value and the advantage of older generations working with younger generations in that capacity. So that's really good.
Exactly.
But listen, this next 30, 60, 90 days, as we're talking about these numbers, it's going to be crazy because it's not going to announce itself with sirens. No, this is why you're watching this channel, and you probably watch other prepper channels or finance channels or channels that are a little bit more advanced in their thinking to prepare for these times, because there's no siren, there's no singular event. President Donald Trump will not have a sign that says, hey, American people, I'm about to put you on lockdown. No, he's not going to tell you the plan of the elites.
Yeah, he's
instead, what's going to happen is it will unfold as a sequence of seemingly unrelated events, almost like a blackout here, a deployment here, and then you look on Channel 6 News. Is that what we had in Ohio? Channel ABC 6? Channel ABC 6 News, and they are going to tell you that you cannot drive your car more than 10 miles. And if you're out in the country, well, you were just out of luck.
Yeah, you gotta see the signs and take it like it is. So I can see President Donald Trump saying, it's not going to be a lockdown. It's never going to be a lockdown. Everything is good. You are safe.
We totally trust him.
We are doing things like this just for a time, just for a little bit. And sometimes you have to go through the fire to refine yourself to get to where we need to be to make America great again. Dang, that was good.
Yeah,
That was good. That's exactly what he'd probably say.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
him and Marco Rubio.
Yeah, trying to be
Pete Hegseth.
he tried to be prophetic and I'm peace, love, and I'm the best Messiah for the Jews and stuff like that. The fake Jews. It's starting to the truth is starting to come out, but it's really up to you to see it and hear it like it is.
Let's talk about the next 30 days. This is for you. First of all, if you have not been looking at airplane prices, because we study airplane prices for ourselves, for our clients, and let me tell you, even on this side of the world, airplane prices have doubled and tripled in the last month. Just to let you know, the first phase is not all out collapse. It's going to be a little bit of inconvenience here and there. Energy routes, particularly those tied to critical maritime passages, will begin to experience delays. We are already seeing this because we're 30 days into the war. So leave a comment down below if this sounds familiar at all. Flights are going to reroute. Insurance premiums for shipping increase. Certain regions will experience intermittent outages. Hello, Asia. Whether due to cyber interference, infrastructure strain, or strategic disruption. For the average person in the West, this manifests subtly as rising fuel costs, delayed goods, you won't see as many groceries, increased digital verification measures as we enter the super central surveillance era. Travel advisories, which we've seen. Last week, America told its citizens, the State Department, it's a worldwide travel advisory, okay? That's what the State Department said. They didn't say one region, they said the entire earth is not safe, okay? Exercise caution or reconsider travel to see if it's actually a necessity. Nothing really appears to be broken, technically. These seem like little glitches that are happening, but everything does feel slower. It almost feels like we're ramping up to some kind of weird moment that most people are going to ignore.
Yeah. So for me, I would say prepare, especially if you can't afford to fly and you feel stuck. Really start to prepare, because we see groceries, the shelves are starting to be empty. The supply chain is going to be disrupted
In America,
and continue to do so, right? So get your rice, get your beans, get your flour, start growing your food. Well, you should have been growing your food and stuff, because it's going to take at least 3 months to get some type of fruit or plant.
But then the fertilizer rates, remember they have the fertilizer crisis. So in America, it's going to be harder to grow food when your fertilizer is 5 to 10 times the rate, or they don't even ship it into the States.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you have to have that mindset. Like, if you know that, okay, what am I going to do? I can't, I did my budget and I can save, and about, November, December, I probably can leave, right? You probably need to start preparing now, because things are going to be disrupted. Get your household items that you need, stack up. It's time to stack up, because we just don't know, or we kind of have an idea of how or where this is heading, because we had an example with C-19. So that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Start to stack up. Really get your rice and beans, your jars, your mason jars, start filling them up and start to be sustainable, because things are going to change suddenly. It's going to be super fast.
And listen, policy is about to become normal behavior. What begins as friction evolves into structure and evolves into legal policy that they are going to pass in the United States of America and places like it, like the United Kingdom, like Germany, whoever is down with this agenda that they have for 2030. Governments under the language of protection and stabilization will begin to introduce measures that influence movement. Tighter border security, we're already seeing this. Expanded digital identity requirements, financial monitoring under the guise of fraud prevention. This is why it's so important to move to neutral territories. Understand that you will be locked out if you are not somewhere that is neutral. And limitations on certain types of international transactions. The West is deeply integrated into global systems. Why? Because its strength has always been super interdependence. The West does not produce its own goods aside from fake cow meat, fake chickens, and fake bacon. The West does not produce avocados, strawberries, bananas, or any produce, so they have to rely on other countries for those things, especially in South America, especially in China. But China's a world away, and they're still able to trade through the Strait of Hormuz, but they may not want to take the route to ship things to America anymore. Understand, America is not China's only client. China's diversified out here. China has all the 54 countries in Africa as clients, all the countries in Asia as clients, and basically everywhere in Europe and Australia as clients as well. So for them, not sending stuff to America isn't a liability. It could be an asset for them. Mobility, which was once assumed, will in these last days become negotiated.
A lot of allies of America, they will follow what America does. And I saw something with Europe. They're going to start, they just passed something where they're going to do something similar to what's happening in America with ICE. So I'm telling you guys, things are changing fast. I don't know what Donald Trump is saying behind the scenes, but the allies of America is starting to like just go with the flow of things, and
Yeah.
you know, he's a businessman. He knows how to negotiate. He knows how to make people think that what he says is the best thing ever. So it's happening in real time, and what America allies are doing is very similar to America. So don't be shocked if you try to travel to these places, and it's something very, very similar that's happening in America.
Absolutely. And listen, we got to talk about this 60 to 90 day shift, because we're 30 days in. So this is what's coming down the pipeline potentially. By this phase, the external changes are no longer the most significant factor. Now, after this, we're going to cover why Africa and regions around Africa are the only place to be in the end times, period. We say this very confidently because we have survived COVID while living in Africa, okay?
Yeah. It's totally
So we're going to
different.
break it down. It's a totally different experience. It's a beautiful experience. And you could experience it too, because, I mean, every day we have clients texting, and some of our groups are on the side just texting us like, hey, I'm landing in Africa. Hey, I'm landing in Southern Africa. Hey, I'm landing here. It's so beautiful. Every single day, the American exodus has already started. The Westerners are getting out of the West. But listen, this is the internal realization that sets in at the 60 to 90 day mark. It's not necessarily, is my country stable, or is it just familiar? It's what has happened to my country. AI robots will start to take over supply chains. AI will start to take over more jobs, even in manufacturing. And you're going to realize that you feel like you're subservient to a different force that just entered the game in America, in the UK, in China, because they are going to have these robots flip on an on switch as this war continues. Because AI is great with data analysis, pattern recognition, and some of the things that the US and Asia are already talking about of, hey, we only want you to use this much gas, we want you to use this much lighting. So it's really simple to install a cloud that can go into your systems, to your refrigerator, and politely tell you, you've used all of your gas and energy for the day at 2:21 p.m. You're going to be shut off now, but don't worry, it will be right back up at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. Thank you so much for your consideration on this topic. And if something escalates, how quickly would you be able to move out the West? Because let's be honest, it's not like the Indian Ocean region that we've been talking about. I mean, the West is a world away from the Mediterranean, a world away from sub-Saharan Africa, a world away from the Mascarene Islands, a world away from islands in Oceania. The West is literally on the other side of the world, so it's not like you can just hop up out of nowhere and just fly across the world. These times are going to be much different. This is where the divide truly emerges, not between nations, but between those who prepare early and those who waited too late for confirmation.
Yeah, so this is why it's important to be in the right position, continue to do the things that is working. Similar to Nigeria, they're starting to get a lot of people very interested in the oil that they produce, right?
Yes.
So Nigeria was in a perfect position, and they didn't know this like 5 years ago. They was just doing it, right? And now, since what's happening in the Middle East, you know, a lot of countries are coming to Nigeria, that's coming to Mozambique and things like that,
Yeah.
to get oil.
Yeah.
So this is something where it's like, okay, you have to be in the right position, and the Most High's timing
Geographically.
is going to be right on time. When chaos is in the midst of the whole world, there's still going to be abundance that's going to happen for the people that is right there, ready to accept the abundance. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's good. Mozambique is right in the Mascarene Island region as well. If you've been following this channel, you know that we reside in the Mascarene Islands, and we have been here for quite some time. And this is literally why Africa is going to have her quiet rise. It will not be televised. It's not going to be about vanity, popularity. This is a pivotal moment where those who have resources will step up to the occasion and meet the global market where it's at. They're not going to be going back and forth. They're not going to be saying, oh, I only sell to other Black people. They're going to meet the market where it's at to provide resources to the entire globe. Nigeria, Mozambique, Libya, Liberia, Eritrea, these places you're going to look up, and Africa is going to be filled with world superpowers. And if you're in position, you are going to be eating of that abundance and of that produce of the harvest. Because while the West contends with system-wide friction, certain regions operate under a totally different dynamic. Across parts of Africa and surrounding island corridors, there is lower dependency on complex global supply chains. A lot of people don't understand this. People think every country is like America. America's the only country like America. Why? Geographically, she is away from everybody else. Geographically, she's not near the Mediterranean. She's not in sub-Saharan Africa. She does not have the resources of Congo or Eritrea. She does not have the resources of the Swahili coast. She doesn't have the resources of the Indian Ocean. She does not have the resources that are available also in Asia of human capital and tourism. And so she is on the other side of the world all alone. With increasing investment in digital banking infrastructure, expanding residency pathways for foreigners, and access to natural resources with local food systems that are in extreme abundance. But more importantly, on the African continent, there's optionality. There's access, because in many African nations, the question is not how do we maintain global dominance and colonization and slaughter everybody we don't like. On this side of the world, we actually ask different questions. How do we build sustainable, localized strength and increase our trade networks? Now, we happen to live in the best country to do business in. We happen to live in Mauritius, Africa, which is the #1 for transparency and doing business on the African continent. Literally the gateway into Africa, the gateway also into Asia because of our proximity in the Indian Ocean. Now, other countries like Botswana and Rwanda and even emerging zones in East and Southern Africa are also emerging and have something that's increasingly rare: room to position, not escape, not fantasy, but true global positioning. And this is the quiet advantage that you want to have for the generations after you. The advantage is not reacting in times of crisis. It is recognizing patterns before they are universally acknowledged. Those who move early are not necessarily more intelligent than people who don't move. They are simply more willing to act without consensus. And consensus by nature arrives late. If you're waiting for somebody with a cape and an S on his chest to say, okay, it's time to get up and go, they're not coming. you're going to have to make the decision to save yourself. Because the real question is, if the events of today are unfolding and they're not isolated, then these are actually signals, not of immediate collapse, but of global directional change, new superpowers, new world leaders, or should we say ancient world leaders coming back to the center stage. So the question is not, will this get worse? The question is, if it does, where will you be and will you be ready? History does not reward those who wait for clarity. It rewards those who recognize when clarity is no longer required. Because by the time something becomes obvious, it's no longer an opportunity, it's a condition.
Yeah, and I want to say this before we end the video, because we learned something new yesterday about where we are. A lot of people come here from other nations to learn and go back to their nation and teach. And that's something that it's like, wow, I can see how the Most High is moving in a way, because we are in this space where other nations like India, other nations like
Indonesia,
yeah,
Bangladesh,
Indonesia,
South Africa,
yeah,
Ghana.
exactly. These nations
Nigeria.
come here, learn customer service, things like that, professional things that they need to take back to their country and teach. And it's like, that's very interesting. That is very interesting. So things are going to be happening suddenly. It's going to just be out of nowhere, just because certain nations, certain countries are in the right position. So this is why we say it's very important to be in the right environment. It's very important to be in the right position, because it's going to happen suddenly. And I hope you guys are prepared, especially in a world full of chaos right now. So, like the video, leave your comments below, subscribe if you haven't, and we will talk to you in the next one.
Shalom, shalom. Also, let us know what you think these 50,000 American troops are about to do in Iran.
Yeah. Shalom, family.